Okay, today we're going to talk about cell structures and functions. So that is your heading for today, cell structures and functions. Reminder that it's really important to take really good notes and write down what I tell you to, because it's always important, but this test is going to be open note. So when I'm asking you for definitions and things on the test, it should be a matter of just looking in your notes and finding it. So cell structures and functions. So basically, parts of the cell and what they do. So we're going to hop right into it. A lot of it is probably review from last year. Some of it will be new. The first one, cell membrane. Go ahead and write this. There's going to be quite a bit of writing today. Cell membrane, a protective covering around plant and animal cells. And if I go too fast, just pause it and write this down. Cell membrane, a protective covering around plant and animal cells. A membrane is any kind of covering or coating. I kind of think of, this is going to sound dumb, but like an M&M, they have the candy coating. On the inside is the chocolate and maybe a peanut or a pretzel or something. The cell membrane is kind of the candy shell. It lets certain things in, and it keeps a lot of bad things out. Another way to think of it is if you've ever peeled the skin off of a grape. I kind of think of that as a cell membrane. Next one, cytoplasm. Jelly-like substance made of water and salt in cells. Cytoplasm, a jelly-like substance made of water and salt in cells. This is kind of the stuff that fits in between everything else, kind of the filler. And remember, living things are made up of about 70% water, so this contributes to it as well. So watery, salty substance within the cell. Nucleus, I'm sure this is old news, controls the functions of the cell. It's going to be in the middle. Write this down, by the way. So kind of the brains of the cell, the nucleus. These are all things that both plants and animals have. If we look at the nucleus closer, go ahead and write this down. The nucleus actually has a center in itself called the nucleolus. So it's kind of the nucleus of the nucleus is the nucleolus. Produces ribosomes. We'll get to ribosomes in a little bit, but they are protein producers. So the nucleolus is the nucleus of the nucleus. Also inside the nucleus is chromosomes. Go ahead and write this down. Contains the instructions for the cell. It contains DNA. I'm guessing in the past you guys have talked about chromosomes. Humans have 46 total chromosomes, or 23 pairs. You get half of those from mom, half of those from dad, and that's what determines your traits, what you look like, what you're able to do. So chromosomes would also be in the nucleus. And then there's the nuclear membrane, which is the covering of the nucleus. Nuclear means nucleus. A membrane is just a covering or a coating. So nuclear membrane, protective covering around the nucleus. do a couple more here. Another one you've probably heard of, endoplasmic reticulum, or ER. A folded membrane that moves materials inside the cell to make proteins and lipids. A folded membrane that moves materials inside the cell to make proteins and lipids. You've probably heard of smooth and rough, ER. But they're going to make proteins and lipids. Okay, proteins help build cells. If you get a good hard workout, if you were in my weightlifting class last hour, and if you lifted weights hard, okay, right after you lift, or soon after, you're supposed to take in some sort of protein. So a lot of people have protein shakes or protein bars, or they eat a protein-filled meal right after they lift, because when you lift weights or you exercise hard, some of your muscles are going to be broken down. And what your body needs to do is rebuild them, and not only rebuild them how they were before, but rebuild them stronger than what they normally were. So if I go up and do bench press, okay, once I recover and my body builds it up stronger than it was, the next time I do bench press, that same amount of weight should be easier, or I can do more weight. So my body has basically changed for that. So proteins allow your body to build itself up. You need lots of proteins right now because you guys, most of you, are growing like crazy. Height, and some of you guys are gaining weight. Okay, that takes tons of protein. It also makes lipids, and what lipids are, lipid is a fancy word for fat. Anytime you hear like phospholipid or anything with lipid, it means fat, and you need fat in your body as well. People always think of fat as a bad thing, and it's not. Now, too much fat, obviously, yes, but your body needs to build fat to do things like take in vitamins, and helps with your nerve responses and stuff as well. So your ER is going to move materials inside the cell to make proteins and lipids. And there are two types of ER, and I think that would be a great place to stop.